Hello, it's the Randy Duck and welcome back for another video. And today of course we have the tank review in the brand new Tier 8 Chinese premium heavy tank, the BZ-176, which is the ultimate season pass reward for this season, which was released yesterday. So what is this tank? Well, it is the first Chinese heavy tank which has the new mechanic of the speed boosters mechanic, the rocket boosters, which we'll come on to in a little bit. But firstly, as it's a new tank, I'm going to quickly go over the statistics of the tank, and then we'll get into the content, which you can see the tank, and we'll go over it, because I've got 3 replays to show you today. So it is a heavy tank with a top speed of 30 kilometers an hour. But you do have the new mechanic, which is the speed boosters, which basically you have 4 boosters available to you at the start of the game, and you can use that booster when you choose to use it, and it basically gives you a boost of 10 seconds, which gets you to your about 45 kilometers an hour. So you go above your top speed of 30, and it gets you to that speed pretty quickly. But it only lasts for 10 seconds, and you only have 4 of them, which you can use at any point in the game whenever you see fit. So in terms of the gun on the tank, it has a 650 alpha gun with your standard rounds, which have 208 penetration. So you've got pretty low penetration, but that's kind of a good reason, because you do obviously have 650 alpha. And then you got on your premium or your HG rounds, you have 80 penetration with 800 alpha. So what I like to do with this tank is use the advanced ammo swapper, so that I can choose to swap between the rounds instantly when I need to, because if you're fighting lots of the tier 10s, you might struggle to pen those. Well, you will struggle to pen them with the 208 penetration, so you might just want to try and splash them, etc. Or you might want to use the HE rounds to shoot a target which you can pen with that 80 penetration, like a Borsig for example, and pick up more damage. In terms of the reload, you've got quite a long, lengthy reload of 18 seconds, or 18.23 of my setup, which you will see shortly. In terms of the accuracy, I've got it down to 0.37. So for the type of gun it is, it's actually, if the gun handling actually feels okay on this tank, if I'm honest. Now, it is a 160mm caliber gun, so it's a very big caliber, which means when you are penning these targets, you will do a lot of module damage, got a good chance of setting tanks on fire, as well as the fact that, it's good for overmatching because it is 160mm. In terms of the armour of the tank, it's got pretty decent armour when you are, tier 8 tanks. You've got a good, decent turret face, a decent lower plate. Whole armour's okay, side armour's okay, so you can side scrape. But the second you start fighting tier 9s and tier 10s, when you're using the premium rounds, they will be able to go for your armour quite easily. So it's something you've got to bear in mind. And the other thing on this tank, its roof is only 45mm thick. So it's quite a big turret, it's easy to hit. And if you are in one of these tanks and you are fighting yourself, the best place to pen them is the roof, because it will be a auto pen, because you can overmatch it because you are a 160 caliber gun. So, that is the weak spot. When you're fighting one of these tanks, shoot the roof and you will be able to pen it. So that is something you have to be conscious of, because you're going to see a lot of them in the matchmaking at the moment. So I think that's enough of me briefly going over the statistics. What I like to do is not hold you for too long and get into the replays. And at the start of the first replay, you will see my crew and equipment setup. So let's stop rambling and let's get into the replay. Okay, so here we are for replay number 1 on Kaunas then, where we are top tier in this replay. If you want to see the equipment and crew setup I use, you will see that at the bottom of the screen as I speak. So you can see here I've initially used one of my speed boosters here to get to my initial position quickly. I tend to use them like this. I use 2 of them at the start most times to get when I want to get to key positions, because on this replay here I wanted to take a position quite early, because I know the tanks are going to push across the 4-5 line and I wanted to be in a position to shoot them. I then try and save my the remaining boosters for later in the game when I need them, and I had to stop there as I've just had a disgusting shot taking out that Vanguard, which felt very, very good. So a great start to the game. But but I've kind of used the third one already. This is what I mean. I've used them early in this replay, which means I'm not going to have many left at the end of the battle, which sometimes can be annoying when you want to try and chase damage, because the tank is quite slow without the boosters. You know, it's sort of like super heavy speed, even though you don't really have like a super heavy armor. But I wanted to get to this position where I am right now, and I wanted to get there early because that's why. Because I felt if I got to this position early, knowing this map on this spawn, I'd have a good opportunity to get damage, and that's how I choose to do it. Get to key positions early with the boosters, then you can get damage. Ideally, if I don't have to use them all at the start of the game, I won't, but I just play it by how I feel it is, and it's kind of really up to you. When you need to use it, really. But I like to use generally about 2 at the start just to get to a key position, and I save the 2 for chasing damage later on in the game. But basically how it's worked out so far, and I've got into a good position. It's kind of worked okay. Can you see I've got 2,000 damage already with 1 kill because I was fighting tanks I could pen. Now here's the equivalent tank for myself. I go for the turret roof there because if I were to hit that, I would have penned it. Because I only had 45 mil of armor on the roof, and we will overmatch that. So if you understand how the overmatch mechanics work, it's quite useful for this tank. Unfortunately, I did miss the shot though. But now he's low health, I don't need to pen him, so I've swapped to the HE rounds because I'm going to be able to splash him. It only had like 100 hit points left. It was an easy kill for me on the splash. So that's a good example of why I like to use the advanced reloader on this tank. I've now kind of pushed in a little bit further, and it's kind of an aggressive position, but unfortunately there's still a tank destroyer on my left, and that's kind of put me in a real situation because I'm getting shot by multiple angles, which means I can't keep my my stronger armor towards the enemy. So it's making myself a little bit difficult. I really need my friendly team to take out that TD on the left, otherwise I'm going to be in a little bit of a pickle here. I am bouncing shots, but I got put on the one shot by a charioteer who's trying to sneak a shot into me. Like I say, that's awkward because he can probably pen my roof there because he's firing above, and he can pen me with even Hesh because he's shooting above. But thankfully the tank destroyer on the left does get taken out, and I take out the Tiger P, which limits the angles the enemy team have on me. Now I can put my frontal armour and try and hold down the best I can towards the enemy tanks. But I've got to be very, very careful because you see I am very low hit points. But there is only 3 tanks remaining in this game. And I've got about 3,000 damage, 2,000 blocks, 3 kills. But the charioteer is just trying to kill me. Now he's shot. I'm going to use my last remaining speed boost to try and get over there as quickly as he can before he can shoot me. Try and shoot when the move doesn't hit. And it's clear now that I'm not going to be able to get to the damage, because you can see here, once you've used those speed boosts, you're pretty, you're slow, and you're sluggish, and you do feel it, to be honest with you. So that's why I think on this tank, that speed boost, it does kind of feel fairly balanced, to be honest. It doesn't feel like a broken mechanic on this tank, because you're limited to 4 of them. If it was unlimited, then it would be a problem. But with its 4, it's actually quite a nice mechanic, I think, because you have to pick and choose when you use them. Obviously, this is early doors me playing this tank, so you just sort of get used to it. But I quite like that idea where you can pick and choose when you use it for the situation you need. So first replay, 3 kills, 3,000 damage, 2,000 blocked, 500 assistance. So kind of sort of average-ish game for the first replay. And we've got 2 more replays to come, so let's move on to the second replay. Okay, so here we are for replay number 2, this time on Safe Haven. And we like to try, when we try and play Safe Haven in the heavy, I kind of want to try and get to the B7 position. I like to try and get the side shots, on the enemy team. So I'm using my speed boost again here, as you see, because I want to get to the key positions early, because then it's going to allow me to get more damage early. Also, it's going to allow me to take less damage to try and get the position, because I want to go the sort of safe way on the right. So I don't like crossing on the left there, because then you can get punished quite easily. Here I've got nice structure to try and cover me. So I opt only to use the 2 boosters now, because I want to try and save 2 for later on in the game, so I can try and get to the damage. And it's a pretty good matchmaking. The next replay we are bottom tier, so I have got a bit of balance to the tank review on this one. But it does kind of feel like I'm left alone a little bit. I don't have much support, which is not ideal in this tank, if I'm honest, because you do have the long reload. So if someone's smart enough to know when you've shot and they've got much better DPM, they can get a lot of shots into you while you're reloading. So you are better to play in when you've got tanks around you. But I didn't want to travel all the way up onto that hill, so I've opted to go this way. Now we've seen the same tank as me here, and this is what I'm talking about. The roof here, boom, straight through the top of the turret roof. That's where you pen that tank, and we get a nice pen to start the game, because you can't actually pen the lower plate when you're in this tank, because you only have 208 penetration, and you can't pen the turret sidewalls. But what you can do is just go through the roof. Again here, you see I'm trying to hit the roof, boom, hit the roof again, got a secondary shot in, and we picked up our first kill, doing 1,200 to that poor enemy BZ there. So decent start to this game, and we're looking here, we might actually have side shots onto this enemy type 59-2, and he backs up and allows us to go straight through his engine deck there, picking up another shot, putting us under just shy of 2,000, and kind of a great start to the game. You can see how much damage you can get when you are penning the shots. Obviously the thing is, like I say, you have low penetration. You'll see in the second replay when I start to fight a few tanks which I'm going to struggle to pen. So decent start to the game, but I feel like I kind of cleared up most of the damage on the right, and I think the rest of the damage is on the other side or in this town in the middle. So I'm going to opt to use my speed boost here to try and get to the damage quickly. But as we make our advance, the Scorpion G comes round, and now I could have used the HE rounds and penned his turret, but what I opted not to, because I wasn't going to fully aim the shot, and I didn't want it to derp into something which I wouldn't pen, like the front of it, or maybe hit the gun or something. That's why I used the HE round. I'm going to keep pushing him now because he's bounced his shot, and I'm going to be able to pick up the kill. Picking up our second kill, putting us under 3,000 damage. And yeah, really decent start to the game. We penned every shot we fired at. Now we want to try and get round onto this enemy French tank there on the right hand side, because it is a tank which is a tier 7, and we can pen, especially when his turret is side onto us like that, and we pick up a nice pen, putting us onto 3,700 damage and 2 kills, and 6 tanks remaining. And it looks like the majority of the tanks are now in the sort of hills on the other side of the map. We'll use our speed boost. You can see it only lasts for 10 seconds, so we get a nice initial boost, but now we're down to the sluggish of the 30 kilometers an hour, and obviously it's going to go even slower than that when you're going up an incline here. You see it drops right down on the speed, and this is kind of the problem, because I'm at this sort of stage where I can see there's damage there, but because we outnumber them, I'm thinking I'm probably not going to get any more damage out of this game. I think they're all going to die before I get there, and that always feels a bit painful, but that is kind of the case when you're playing sort of slower tanks. I kind of love to get one more big hit, and I'm trying to look to see what can we shoot. I know the tank destroyer hasn't been spotted yet, and then I've kind of seen this Mantis, and it looks like the Mantis is going to retreat and come off of the hill, and I'm thinking, well, I might be able to get a cheeky shot in as he leaves here. So I stopped to actually aim this shot, but what I didn't realise is he's actually sort of behind the secondary ridge, and I didn't really have the shots onto it, which is a shame, which means I'm probably not going to get any more damage unless I get lucky and come across this tank destroyer when he spots it. But yeah, looking at this is just an absolute whitewash here, to the enemy team. It's 13-1, and I'm pretty certain this tank destroyer is now in a 1-2 line, which is a kind of a shame. I didn't keep pushing that way instead of gone over to here, because I would have been able to farm that tank and had all the hit points for myself, because I haven't even had any damage here. But yeah, it's evidently clear that I'm not going to make it, and that's obviously frustrating. I'm hoping maybe I can get over and get a side shot in, but yeah, realistically it ain't going to happen. So that's pretty much going to bring us an end to replay number 2, where we managed to pick up just shy of 4,000 damage, 2 kills, but we did have a decent fight, to be honest. We was doing well. The damage just got away from us in the end. So yeah, that does bring us then to replay number 2, with one final replay to come. Let's just get to the scoreboards and we'll move on to that final replay. Yeah, so what we get, just shy of 4,000 damage there, picking up 2 kills, a little bit of assistance in the 3rd class mastery. Obviously the mastery is quite high in this tank at the moment, because it's literally just been released, and it based the mastery on like the highest available tier 8 heavy tank at that time. So it will be set high, but it will get lower with the amount that it's given away. So let's move on to the 3rd replay then. Okay, so here we are for the third and final replay, this time on Fjords, where there is no enemy artillery in the game and it's the encounter variant. So I've kind of decided that on this variant, knowing how the spawns are, I kind of want to push early to the ridge in the middle of the map, and I want to use the speed boost to get me there quickly. Like I say, get to the key positions early so then I can try and get the damage, and that's how I use the speed boost at the moment. Use it to get to the early position and then save the rest to chase the remaining damage at the end of the game, or you know, just use it when you need to. So we do get to this position thanks to the speed boost, and we're in a position to shoot this enemy tank destroyer, which we know we can actually pen here. So we back up, we slap a big shot in, and then we pull back into cover where we hold down. One thing I think I forgot to say, actually, the tank has 10 degrees of gun depression, so it can play those ridge lines quite nicely. But there's an enemy chisel there, which I think is pulled up now as well, which is at least, yeah, here it's a little bit awkward because this is going to be harder for me to actually pen frontally, and it also has a lot of spaced armour, so it's kind of a bit of a pain. Also, it's a tier 10 tank. I can go for the cupola, but I'm looking really to try and shoot the other tank behind the atomic, which I can pen now the chisel's fired. But the chisel does decide to present his rear armour for me. We get that shot in and we set him on fire, and that's the thing, when you pen these high caliber guns, you do have a chance to set them on fire when you hit places like their engine deck or wherever the engine's going to be located. You do a lot of module damage, and that's a tier 10 chisel out the way, which is great because it frees up options to get shots into the targets, which I can pen. Looking to try and shoot the Panzerjäger, don't have the shot, so we're going to go for the atomic, which we can pen with the 208 penetration, and that puts us on to 2,400 damage. So great start to this game here, and we're in a good position. We're hold down and we can use our gun depression, and we've got some support with us as well, so the enemy tanks aren't going to rush us while we're on reload, which is always the key. We're going to opt to eat a shot of damage here in order to try and put that atomic onto a one shot. We do that and it puts us onto 3,000 damage. So we've used our hit points quite well. Happy to trade like 200 hit points for 650. I'll take that all day long. And now he's a one-shottable. I don't actually need to pen him with the AP. I can splash that. He's only got about 200 hit points, and we opt to go for his cupola because that's all what we're showing, and we pick up the kill there. And you can see the accuracy on this tank for that how high caliber it is. The gun handling does feel okay, you know, like I say, it's a little bit derpy, but you expect that because it's a big gun. But for the caliber of gun, the gun handling feels alright here. So still an even split game, but we've done well to sort of take this position, and then we find a G-saw which we can pen. We pen and finish him off for our second kill of the game, putting us on to already just shy of 4,000 damage here. With 10 kills left, I'm thinking there's a good opportunity to get some damage, and with our friendly team currently in the cap, it kind of means the enemy team might move towards the damage. But then we come across a tier 10 mouse, and we cannot pen this tank. We're side onto the turret. We can't actually pen it even with the AP. For some reason we fired the HE at the side of his turret then. Again, I wasn't really going to do any damage shooting there. I'd need to hit things like the lower plate of the mouse or the cupola to really get any splash damage on it, to be honest, because it's only got the 80 penetration. So it's kind of awkward target, really. That's one which is a bit of a struggle. You know, if the side of his turret's completely flat, I may bounce it. I may pen it if I get a high roll on the penetration value. But the reality is, I'm going to be bouncing them, as you see there. But I had nothing else to shoot, so I just went for it. Then we got this enemy, the Russian tier 9 heavy tank here, and it looks like he's actually leaving to try and get the reset on the cap, and that means he's going to present his rear armour to us, and then we'll be able to pen in, and we're able to slap a nice big one in, damaging his engine. We could have set him on fire there as well. We hit him again with a damaged engine, we probably would. That puts us on to 4,500 damage with 2 kills, and still plenty of hit points available to us if we can get to it. I've got to be careful because I don't know if there's tanks still on the 6-7 line which could shoot us here, and this mouse is kind of holding us up here because we're struggling to pen him. Unless we get the rear of his turret, we're never going to pen that tank, and that's a bit of a problem for us. But he is trying to get the reset. I'm going to try and keep pushing because he's now getting shot. And I think, well, it looks like most of the damage is now in the F12 line, which from far as I can see, there's 3 tanks fighting there. And I think I might be able to use my speed boost to get behind and try and pick up some more damage, because I'd love to get one more big pen out of this, and that would put us above the 5,000 damage mark. Would be nice. So we use both speed boosts here to try and get up to damage, because at this point it's looking like, well, it's 3 tanks here, but it kind of suddenly goes and the enemy team kills them. So I try and aim this shot. I think, oh, I've got the rear armour, and then that shot, that one kind of derped and didn't hit where I wanted to, and it's awkward. I try and back up so he can't shoot us, but I'm getting shot from something from behind. I think it must be the light tank, so I just need to get out of the way because I'm never going to spot that tank. So I kind of gutted at that shot didn't pen, because that would have put me above the 5,000, and I've got no speed boosters now, and the rest of the damage is kind of up in the B8 line now. That's where the last 3 remaining tanks are, and I'm just simply not going to get there in time. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to bore you because it kind of goes on for a little bit while I'm trying to get across the damage. I don't make it, spoiler alert. I'm just going to skip ahead, and then we'll see you in the scoreboards to say our final thoughts on the tank. Okay, so there you go. We finished that game off getting 2 kills, 4,500 damage. Shame we didn't get that last pen in there. It would have been, you know, nice to get that above the 5k. But yeah, so that is it for the review. I mean, what do I think of this tank? I think it's actually a fairly balanced vehicle, if I'm honest. You know, I think on PC it actually had, on the HE rounds, like 210 penetration. I'm so glad it didn't have this on the console, because it would have been hideously overpowered if it did. Thankfully it didn't, and it kind of makes it balanced, because yes, you've got 650 alpha, but also you've got a very long reload, and the low penetration means you're not going to pen every tank. So I think it is a balanced vehicle. Overall, I do quite like it. Yeah, it's alright, and I do kind of like the speed boost mechanic. I was a little bit worried about the mechanic, but on this vehicle it seemed to be okay, to be honest. So that's all for the video. If you do like, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll get some more replays in all the tanks which come out in this season pass. Thank you so much for your support, and as always, happy tanking.